my name is Teresa.
And I'm Karen.
And welcome to our second video. Today we're going to be doing a DIY for you guys on some t-shirts that you can wear to an EDM or a music festival.
Yeah, a lot of people who go to these types of events like to feel free, and it's all about self-expression.
And that can be done in many ways, like through what people are wearing, through dance,
through accessories,
right, jewelry. But today we're going to be showing you guys how you can do that with some t-shirts.
So in today's video, we're going to have 4 looks for you.
Let's get started.
Yay! Okay, so this is what you'll need. T-shirts, needle and thread, scissors, fashion chalk, and a ruler. Teresa's going to show you her first look.
I'm going to be starting by fringing the front. I want it to go up about 15 centimeters. I have my fashion chalk here, and I'm just going to be marking the t-shirt. So these are about an inch markings, and I want it to be about half of that because an inch is too thick for me. And now I'm going to cut along the lines. Just make sure you're cutting the front layer. So here's the fringe finished on the front. So I'm going to be cutting out the neck as well to make it a bit deeper in the front of the t-shirt. So I'm going to mark my design on the back of the shirt with the fashion chalk. And then I want this to splay out to the shoulders. I'm going to use the width of the ruler to margin out how thick I want my cutouts to be. So now I'm just going to cut out some of these pieces, and this is the finished product. Karen is going to show you the second look.
So first I'm going to cut out the collar. And then I'm just going to mark off where I'm going to cut a little bit lower in the front. And then I'm just going to cut over it. Mark off the sleeves so we can cut it off and make this into a tank. Now I'm just going to do it to the other side. Because I've got this cut off already, I can just put it on top so that both sides are even. And I'm going to use it as a stencil. Okay, so on the back I plan to braid it in the middle into a racer back. So first I'm going to mark off how much collar I want, and then from there I'm going to mark off how wide I need braid to be. And then from where we marked off, I'm going to cut off more of the armhole. Okay, time to cut. Do the same thing on the other side. So now I'm going to draw 2 lines where I had marked off earlier, and I'm going to cut these lines off so that I have 3 strands to braid with. Now with the 3 strands, I'm going to start braiding. And with the end here, you need to take your sewing kit and sew it back up to the collar. This is to ensure all 3 strands stay together. So it doesn't have to be very neat sewing as long as they all stay. And now we're going to attach the braid back to the collar. Now that we've attached the collar and the braid together, we're done. Ta-da! Teresa's going to do our third look.
So all the details for this t-shirt are going to be in the back. So we're going to flip it over. So now that you've learned how to create a razorback braid from Karen's previous look, we're going to do the same thing down the middle for this look. We're also going to do 2 braids on the sides as well. I'm going to be cutting out a panel here. So we're just going to measure 3 inches wide for the center braid, an inch for each braid, just marking each inch. And then we're gonna draw the horizontal lines down, and then we'll cut along the lines for the braid. Now I'll mark off where the braid will end. Now I'm going to measure where the side braids will be. Again, these are all 1-inch strands. So now we're just going to cut along the lines that we've made. So we've cut out all our pieces. This piece is going to be cut out, so we'll have our 3 strands for our braid, and we'll also cut this one off completely, and we'll have another 3 strands. So 2 side braids that will attach to a center braid. So now that we have all our strands, we're going to start braiding the sides. So now that we have our side braids, we're going to go ahead and braid the middle braid. And now we'll just cut the sleeves off on both sides. And after that, we're going to divide this piece here into 3 strands for the braid. So I just finished cutting these 3 strands, and now we're going to braid it. So now that we have all our braids laid out, we're just going to sew them all together. Okay, and we've sewn all the braids together, so this is the finished look. Karen is going to show you our last look.
So for this t-shirt, I'm going to make fringe at the bottom, and then I'm going to tie knots. So first, I'm going to measure how far I want the fringe to be. I've decided that I want it 8 inches. So I'm gonna just make some marks. So after making all these marks, just draw a line gently. Eventually we're gonna cut through both sides because I want the fringe to be all around. Then I'm going to measure about 2 inches down, and that's where I'm going to be making my first knot. And then I'm going to measure 2 inches down again, and that's where I'm going to be making my second knot. And then just do the same thing on the back. So now I'm going to measure out where I'm going to cut the fringe, and I've decided that I want them about ½ inch apart. So I'm just going to draw the lines in. You only have to do it to the front because when you cut, you can cut from both sides. Now that I drew in all the lines, I'm ready to cut. So cut both sides together, front and back, all at once. And don't forget to cut the sides or else they become one big fringe. So now we're gonna take 2 strands and tie a knot together where you had your first 2-inch marking. So for me, it's right here. Okay, this is my marking right here. So I'm gonna take both of them and just tie it in a knot. Okay, and just move it to where your 2-inch marking is. And if you don't know where it is or you forget the placement, then just look at the one right beside it. So it's around the same area. So you can actually have the knots aligned. And then you're gonna take your next two, okay, only the front t-shirt because you're gonna do this all around, so the back is going to have its own knots. And again, you take both of them and we're gonna make a knot. Okay, and just make sure they're around the same side, alignment. If you don't know where, again, check with where the last knot is or check with the marking on the next. And you're gonna do this all around. So when you're making your knots, hang it up on something just to double check that all the knots are aligned. So if you like, you can leave it like this, and it's cute to make the fringe like this, but for my design today, I'm going to take two of the knots and I'm gonna grab one from each of them and tie them in a knot again. So that will match your second notch at where you had your marking. And do this all around. Okay, now your second layer is done and it's supposed to look like this. Now we're going to turn this t-shirt into a tank by cutting off the arms. Some of you might find it easier if you just take the piece that you cut and just lay it on top of the other side. You can either just cut around your trace, or you can draw in first and then cut, whatever works. And now we are going to cut off neckline. Just want to make it more of a scoop neck. And you can decide how deep you want it. Either you want it to V-neck or you want it a scoop neck. And then you can go ahead and cut it off. And this is only my design for the front. Then you still have the back to do. And I just want to cut around and just cut off the neckline. So just go around and cut it off. Now we're going to work on the back. So for this t-shirt design, I've decided to make bows on the side, just to scrunch it up a little bit. It adds cuteness. So I'm going to take the sleeve that we had cut off and I'm going to cut a strip from it. And you can even make it into a slant so it's cuter. And take this piece and just tie a bow on the end. And now you're going to do it to the other side. Ta-da! This is done. Our last look is finished now.